In today's coaster review, I am reviewing Mean Streak at Cedar Point. This is the largest wooden roller coaster at the park, and unfortunately it's built up a bad reputation. I'm going to be giving my full thoughts on it in just a minute, but as usual, let's start with the stats. This is one of the taller wooden roller coasters out there. It's actually 161 feet tall. That is actually pretty large for a wooden roller coaster. And then it has a 155-foot drop, and its angle of descent is 52 degrees, so it's not that steep. But for a roller coaster that was built way back then, it's not really that surprising. We really aren't starting to see steep drops on wooden roller coasters until more recently. Now, it does reach a maximum speed of 65 miles per hour. That's pretty good. I mean, the stats are definitely on Mean Streak's side. And with a track length of over 5,000 feet and a 3-minute and 13-second ride time, in terms of stats, Mean Streak is excellent. So why does Mean Streak suck? It's not smooth. It was manufactured by Din. What are some great rides that Din has built? I can't really think of any right off the top of my head. The rides aren't that smooth, and on top of it, this ride just kind of meanders around. It's not very exciting beyond the drop and turn. And let's talk about that drop. It's trimmed to death. You go down that first drop, and there is a trim there slowing you completely down. So it's not even an exciting drop. Now, I will say, this ride isn't unbearably rough. It's just rough. There are definitely some worse rides out there in terms of smoothness, but I would say this is probably the roughest ride at Cedar Point. Now let's talk about the ride's layout. There's really not much there. The entire ride winds around itself several times, leaving nothing in the center. And we've seen a layout like this be successful. Look at the new Texas Giant. That ride has an extremely similar layout to Mean Streak. So why is the new Texas Giant better than Mean Streak? It has better ride elements. What are the ride elements on Mean Streak? You have some turns, a couple more turns, and it does have some airtime hills, but do you get airtime on them? No, not really. The new Texas Giant has that similar ride path, but they have taken those average turns and made them banked, added in some sweet airtime moments, and boom, you have an amazing ride. Now, I do realize that that isn't the best comparison since the new Texas Giant was new as of like 2011 or something, but I'm just trying to illustrate the point that you can take a ride that has a solid ride path and just change up the elements a bit to make it better. I think there is a reason why this is one of the least popular rides at Cedar Point. You walk up to the queue for Millennium Force and look, there's an hour-and-a-half line. You go up to Rougarou, there's a decent line. You go up to Magnum XL 200, that one even has a bigger line than Mean Streak. Mean Streak is almost always a walk-on. Is it because it's located towards the back of the park? Or is it because it has built up a reputation for not being that great? I think it's a little bit of both. But I think it's also funny how long the queue line is for this thing when it never has a line. You're walking completely under this Mean Streak structure, and it's a pretty long pathway, and it's never full. It's always a station wait. Even the wait for front row is probably just 1 or 2 trains. I think people are not fans of Mean Streak, and you ask the average coaster enthusiast, they're gonna say, bring in RMC, make it a better ride. Because its layout is there. It just needs a few more ride elements. It needs some sprucing up. It needs to have that modern kick to it that was given to the Texas Giant that turned it into the new Texas Giant. And I think Cedar Point knows this. I think that Cedar Point knows that this isn't that great of a ride, and I think they'll try to do something about it. Even after they've retracked it, Mean Streak isn't that great. Now, I do want to clarify, I don't hate Mean Streak. A lot of people do. I'm not one of them. I don't hate it. I just didn't like it. I thought it was bland, and it didn't really do anything for me. I think the only reason why people pay so much attention to this ride is because it is at Cedar Point. Here you have the world's greatest amusement park, and they have a really bad wooden roller coaster. If you were to put this ride at any other park, it wouldn't get as much attention. So I think that if you're at Cedar Point, you should honestly probably skip Mean Streak. Go spend your time somewhere else. If you have a couple minutes to spare and need the coaster credit, then sure, do it. You probably won't like it, but every once in a while there is someone that comes along and likes Mean Streak. Look at Mean Streak Henry. He's ridden it tens of thousands of times. How he does it, I have no clue. But he was a cool dude, and for his sake, if they ever RMC'd Mean Streak, I hope he would like the new version. So it's time for my final score for Mean Streak. I'm giving it a 4.5, and here's why. I think this ride has a lot of potential. I think if GCI were to come in and give it the Ghost Rider treatment, take away the trims where they aren't necessary, reprofile those bank turns so that they are more enjoyable, make the track not rough, then I think people would think that Mean Streak was actually a better ride. People would like it more. And I mean, like I said earlier, it has the stats. The potential is there for this to be a good wooden roller coaster. All they need is to give it a modern feel, either a GCI reed track or a complete hybrid treatment by RMC. But as for the way Mean Streak is now, it's not that good. So I want to hear from you what you thought of Mean Streak. Post all of your thoughts on it below. And of course, make sure to stay tuned for more coaster reviews. I'm reviewing all of the roller coasters I've ridden in alphabetical order. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to check out that playlist and you can check out past reviews I've done. And I will catch you guys next time here at Coaster Studios.